Hey guys, my name is Riven Phoenix and welcome to the Structure of Man, Learn to Draw the Human Figure from your Mind Training course. Okay, so in the previous lesson, I showed you how you can just use the basic formulas uh, that we've understood so far of creating the human skull, and here we had created a character design. So here I've just cleaned it up a little bit, showing you that as you go through your drawing phases and processes, you can create different types of character designs, right? So an idea that I would suggest here is that once you have this information that I've given you so far, is to try out doing different types of character designs and also experiment with what would happen if you stretch and squash the formulas, right? Giving you different type of characters that you can create. That's the power of these formulas. Regardless of what the idea looks like, you can make anything look like a figure. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to look at the front formulas of the human skull. So what we've been doing is we've been looking at it in a much more slower process where we were investigating and just getting the mind really warmed up and used to the ideas of formulas. So what we're going to do now from now on is that when we move forward, we really don't have to spend so much time in looking and investigating at the formulas, because we'll always do them much more simpler, right? And this is what will happen with the front formulas. And really, the human skull is where we're going to be spending more time on it, is because that's really the key object to get. Everything else regarding the other parts of the human skeleton that we will create, all the other bones, are going to be very simple. They're really no brainers when you look at them as to how to understand them. Okay, so for the front formula it's going to be very simple. So what we want to do is draw out a straight line over here, and this is going to be the height for the head. So here I'm just going to draw it out like this over here and just say that this is the height of my head. And basically all I have to do is once again just divide this in half. Right, so once I've divided this in half, I'm just going to make a plus sign, just like I did on the side view, but make it on the front view. So once that's done, we can basically now figure out all the placements of the key areas of the human skull from the front. So basically, what we want to do is when we're here, now just notice that this division here has to be exactly the same, right? So this is really going to be the line for your eye over here. So from here to here, just divide this in half and then come down. If you divide this in half and then from here to here, divide this in half again, this is going to be the area for your brow area over here. And then if you take this from here to here, divide this in half, you're going to get the bone area for your nose. Okay, just like this. It's a very simple concept. So basically what happens is that throughout your drawing ability of drawing out the figure, you really just have to remember that as soon as you find out the area for the brow, you basically need to take this whole line here and divide it in half, which is going to be roughly around here. Okay, once you do this, you've already found the bottom of the nose. Okay, so in the skull we already know that there's a hole here for where the nose goes. So here I'm just going to make like a drawing over here, just like this, and that's it. Right, so don't make it too wide, just make it kind of like this, and you can adjust your understanding of it as we move along. There really isn't much formula needed to get this concept. So basically, when you get the bottom of the nose, you need to divide from here to here in 3 different sections, right? So if I take a look at this, and if I just fiddle with it a little bit and say that, okay, this is going to be how I'm going to divide this, we've now figured out the construction for the mouth and the chin area. So what this line is, this is the line for your mouth where your teeth will meet. And this line here is the bottom of your teeth, right? So your top of your teeth will be here and the bottom of the teeth will be here, and here will be your gums. So this gives you enough room for the area for the chin. So one thing that I want you to notice, if you just take your index finger and put it below your lip area, here's your bottom of your lip, and put your finger over here. So you'll notice that you can feel the bottom of your teeth, meaning that the upper lip is really, the bottom lip is really just going to where this line is for the mouth. The bottom lip is really going to be always over here, and this space here is going to be the area where you're touching, meaning that this tells you how much space you really have, and this gives you enough room for doing the chin, right? So this will keep you away from doing the chin too small. And that's really it. Once you figure that out, you can just very slightly, this is the mouth area, just give it like just a small mouth over here for now. So once we've done this, what we need to do now is figure out how wide is the skull supposed to be. Well, it's actually very simple. See this area here? This was the mouth area, and this is the bottom of the teeth, the gum area that I had said. So this basically is your width. So if you take this from here and measure it and translate it over here, you'll get the width of the human skull. Now you have the right to actually move this in a little bit if you wanted to, right? Maybe, sometimes you want to do a skull that's a little more elongated, but this is typically the size of the human skull in this way, right? So here I'm just going to specify that this is the width. So here I'm just going to measure twice, make sure that I got this right. Okay, so as soon as I have this, all we have to do is really now just figure out the contour of the top and the jaw area and figure out the eye socket. So let's work on the eye socket here. And this is going to be very simple. Basically, when you have the brow area and you have this point here, the top of this, if you divide this in half right over here, you basically, all you need to do is make like a cube, a square in here, in this area. See this? I made a square. Once I have this, I just need to repeat the same process on the other side. And make sure you're doing this as accurately as possible. So once you have the square, you've got the width of your eye, right? So the length of the, like the eyes are always the 3 lengths apart, right? One eye, and one eye in the middle. That gives you the distance. So from here, if I measure this, I'm just going to put a mark over here and a mark over here, right? And then here I'm just going to make a box over here going in this direction. Box over here and going in this direction. So I'm going to visually check, hey, do I have the right amount of space on this end? Because I want it to be as accurate as possible. Right, so here you'll see that this box here is where your eye socket is going to be. So all you have to do is now take this box and just translate it over here, just like this. Right, so your whole eye socket will now be inside over here. Just like over here. So here's something really important to just remember when you're drawing out the skull, and later when we get into the muscles and drawing out the human head, is that notice what the bottom of this is compared to the nose area, right? And this is an aspect of figure drawing that I'm showing you, that when we get into more and more of this figure, where we start putting all the surface anatomy and stuff, it's going to come down to ratios also, not only formulas but ratios, just knowing where everything's supposed to be. So the bottom of the eye socket, we just know that it's going to be pretty much over here. You could say that if you take this and divide it in half, it's kind of like halfway, but sometimes it's okay to just do it above. It doesn't really matter, just know that it's on the halfway over here. Okay. So once we have this, we know that the eye sockets are going to be here, so how should they look? Well, basically where this point is, and this point, you're just going to make a line over here, and you're going to make a line over here. Okay, so this is going to be the beginning of your eye socket over here. And this line, you'll use it because it's going to collide here. This is a bone over here. And then we want to come back in this direction over here. Right, so what we want to do is from here, we first want to take a look at this and just divide this in half over here. This from here, I divided this in half. And here I'm just going to lightly sketch out, right? We don't want to draw like these symmetrical lines. Just sketch out over here that that's what it's going to look like, and that's what it's going to look like. So basically, from here, where we have this concept over here, this little nudge here, remember there's a nudge over here. It goes this, 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 this. So basically, from here, you're just going to make it come down over here in this direction. So it kind of looks like eyeglasses. Right, and then from here you can just put it down. So if you looked at this, you could say that, okay, I divided this in half and did over here is where I ended up. But this area here, it's really much more roundish. So when I do it, I'm just going to make it kind of roundish over here. Give it like an organic feel to it. So over here, if I take this and divide this in half, I know that I'm just going to come pretty much over here and then go in this direction. And this will start to give me like the eye socket over here. And that's how all we need to know, right? So the eyeball will sit inside here. So we've got these two things figured out, right? So if you look at the formulas that I've shown you, they were very simple. We just need to understand how to divide this section. Once we got this, it was nothing more than measuring this, translating it here, and then from here to here, here to here, then over here, just go like this and you've got the eye socket. So once you have this, basically this is going to be your bone structure over here. So just like we did on the side, remember we did something like this. So this area here, this line is basically over here, needs to go just a little above this like this, right? So notice where I'm doing this from. I'm just choosing the middle over here, and I'm going towards this area over here. Just like this, right? And this will become the area for your skull, which we had done on the side. We'll look at this from the side also again to compare it. So basically, that's it. We're pretty much done with this. And what this means is when this line goes, we just need to come down here a little bit, and just make the cheek area over here. This is going to be a cheek area. Right, so how low should the cheek area really go? Well, from the front, we just need to know that where the bottom of this is, it really basically needs to come down about here. So where this guy is, right, you can come down here, you can come down a little bit over here. But I usually will put it here because based on the human skull, it's usually just about here. And you just make your cheekbones like this. Where this area is, where this point is, right? We come this way and we start turning, and that's it. We just go inwards, back towards this point, like this, and then from this area here, see this here, like in the middle of this is the middle over here. This is the middle, and here I'm just going to go like this over here. Right, you don't even have to measure, just do it this way, right? Because this is actually a conformed 3D form. It goes like this. It's going to go like this, where the mouth is, where the teeth are. Okay, so once you figure this out, we can now work on the top area. And the top area is very simple. As long as you know this dot here, from here to here, this square, we just look at the diagonal. From here to here, look at the diagonal and find the center, and then just divide up. You got your point over here. So this point needs to go here, and this one just needs to come back around like a circle. And this will give you your this ball shape for the top of the head. So over here, I'll do the same thing. From here, I'm just going to find this over here. And then from here, I'm just going to make sure I got the center correctly done over here and then over here. Right, so you can just compare from the other side here. So what you were doing is making sense. And that's really it. You just come down in this way. Okay, so since we've done this, all we have to do is figure the bottom part out, which is very simple. And that is, so we need to figure out, okay, what angle really should the jaw be? And it's very simple. From here to here, where this is, right? If I had from here divided this in half, divide and then come back. So from here, I divided this in half, I divided to the right, divided to the left. This basically is the angle from where the jaw is supposed to be. So usually to get this line, what you want to do is where this thing is here, where this line is, see over here we came here for this definition, but from here you just need to put the jaw because this should be like this and the jaw should come towards this line just like this. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. We got this over here, I divide in the middle, I divide to the left and I divide to the right, so I know that this is just going to come in this direction, right? So just compare it, that it's going to be coming that direction. Okay, so now we need to figure out how should the jaw turn so it comes in this direction. For that it's very simple, since from here to here we knew the middle, we just need to come in the middle here and that's it. We're going to get the angle from here, and where this bottom of that teeth is, you're just going to start to curve below this. And that's it. You're going to get the line for the jaw. And over here, it's going to be the same thing. I know the center. I'm going to divide here. And I'm just going to look at this from here, start to curve and come in this direction. And this will give me the design for the skull. Okay, so once that's done, we just need to make those lines for the jawbone, and that's usually, typically you can just make it here where this line, where you turn, where this line is, just come in a little bit here and just do this curve where it's coming towards the center over here, just like this, right? So here I'm just going to compare a little bit and do it this way, and that's really it. Here we were able to create the front view of the skull. So in the next lesson, what we will do is, so you should just practice this lesson again, just make sure you understand how we did it. It was very simple, right? It was taking this line, understanding how these lines were placed. After we had done this, we drew out this square, understood the eye socket placement, drew out the eye socket, and then from here we basically put these lines down going above, and then from here where we got these 2 points, we just did the circle, right? And for the chin, we knew that over here came down here, and you can just be artistic about it, do it this way, and get the line for the jaw as I showed you right over here. And that's it. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks.